Keith, that
I got 3.
that Twitter announcement is like the least effort I've ever seen you put into anything.
Say? Podcast now or something?
No, podcasting, twitch.tv/Wanderbot.
Wanderbot.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where the current stream is happening. I don't feel like launching it up.
It's not wrong, but also just so lazy.
They know what it means. Hey, I did my YouTube announcements with freaking embedded images and shit. Some of the stuff takes work.
Yep.
I spent all day running back and forth trying to figure out medical bullshit. I don't need to spend time working on Twitter.
Medical bullshit. What the fuck?
Yeah. So my income dropped.
Are we starting?
Yeah, we're starting. This is the podcast. Apparently,
I just realized.
Yeah,
my stream had me muted. All right, that's fixed. There we go.
Something fun that happens in California, or probably other places too. I don't know, but the country's too complicated for me to care about other states. But there's this whole like universal healthcare thing going on right now, and
yes,
for us we have Medi-Cal, which is the normal people medical thing that sets up like subsidization for your various things. So
it's between Medicaid and Medicare.
It's like a thing where like if you have Medi-Cal, then like they subsidize part of your payments for something like Kaiser or something like that, like hospital chains. Well, my income's too low for Medi-Cal, which I apparently found out is a real thing. So
wait, what?
I got.
So you have to do Medicare instead.
No, wait,
Medicaid.
Wait, I got mixed up now. I know. I'm sorry. My income's too low. My income's too low for covered California.
Yes.
So they dropped me to Medi-Cal without any warning. So I've spent all week trying to actually prove my income because the two things don't talk to each other at all. So you have to deal with this fun thing where one person will drop you without notice, but then send none of your information to the other company, and then you have like a time limit to send stuff via snail mail for 17 different freaking forms to prove your income before they drop you from all health coverage, so that you then have to worry about having fines on your taxes for not having health coverage.
Yep.
Does America just want all of its citizens to die?
I don't know.
Because I feel like America just wants everyone to die.
Preferably.
They make it as hard as possible.
Look, Medi-Cal isn't bad. I've had Medi-Cal forever, and there's two things that are great about Medi-Cal.
Well, the problem is when you get dumped on Medi-Cal with a time limit.
Yeah,
right.
Well, that's true, but it's
no
like
warning.
But I don't know, the two things that are great about Medi-Cal is, one, there's not really much you have to do. Well, at least in my town, there's like 3 doctors I can go to, and they're all crap anyway, so who cares? And 2, you can totally scam Medi-Cal for as long as you need to, because there's no validation process. Like, there's never
I don't know about that.
I do. I have been using Medi-Cal, telling them I make $0 a month for the past 4 years, and they have not validated that. So,
I feel like that's a very easy way to get legally in trouble.
It is, except no one cares because it's Medi-Cal.
You just offer them chickens.
I think Andrew's just counting
eggs.
on dying first.
Well, here's the thing: is that if they make me pay, then that's fine. But then I'm going to go to the doctor every day. Like, every day. I will be there every day for every little thing. I got a hangnail. What should I do, doctor? Oh, my toe hurts. What should I... And I will fucking push them to the point where they're like, you can't go to the doctors anymore, dude. Like, this is
That's
absurd.
not how health coverage works either. You have to pay every time.
Yeah, you have to pay a small copay no matter what it is, generally.
It's not total single payer like it is in like
super
California
high
and places.
Premium if you're going to be going every time for free.
Oh no, and I don't have to go for free. I'll put out of my money just to bother the doctors enough where they have to kick me out and put me back on Medi-Cal, so I don't have to go to the doctors.
I don't think it's going to work that way.
I think that'll work perfectly.
Yeah, I think they'll just gladly take your money.
You should keep us updated.
Who cares? Because Medi-Cal.
So this is the podcast where
Medi-Cal will never find out.
Or talk about our scams.
This is our legal advice podcast.
Sometimes I forget that Andrew is a sovereign citizen, and we need to avoid these topics really hard. All right,
you could word replace his name with that guy that tried to declare his house its own country, and it'd fit a lot of his behavior patterns.
I would do that in a heartbeat if I could.
So, video games is apparently supposed to be the discussion for the gaming podcast.
Andrew's life is a video game in its own way.
True. I assume Wander has to air the grievances about Universal.
Fuck Universal.
Okay, like, is that new? Is there something
not a video game?
I mean,
okay.
okay.
So I know I need to preface this, but that's my grievance.
Not really.
So
I mean, Universal's a Comcast-owned company, so
shut
yeah,
up,
fuck
Andrew.
them. Like,
Andrew,
Who owns who?
I realize you have diatribes, but you're ruining this quick. Okay, so for people that don't know, Keith and I had our Ratchet and Clank series wiped out because Universal's like, yeah, so this has cutscenes from the movie, and we know we sent you guys these what the fuck?
Yeah, they sent press copies to Let's Play channels to Let's Play their game, in a game that heavily features cutscenes from the movie, which means they get blocked on YouTube.
Yes.
Hold on. I heard about this.
Yeah.
They gave you the fucking what?
I didn't buy it.
They gave you the press copies?
Yeah, they gave it to me.
They did that?
And it's not just like some scenes, it's like the entire, like all the side quests are shitty in-game engine cutscenes, but every single like main story cutscene is just like full CGI Pixar looking like movie scenes. So the entire main story of the entire main narrative drive of the story is all these scenes that are blocked on YouTube with no warning. They didn't say like, oh, you can't air these scenes. It's like, hey, here's this game, go cover it on your channel. It's a trap.
They do actually have a disclaimer on their site saying you can play any of our games except for the 2016 one, full permissions. The 2016 one, you might not get monetization.
Yeah, they say you might not be able to monetize, but in reality, they block the entire videos from being played on YouTube.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, what the hell they're thinking. Like,
I mean, so the thing is,
it's a bunch of separate companies not talking to each other, screwing people
fair
over.
Enough, yeah.
Yeah, so for frame of reference, Sony owns Ratchet and Clank. Insomniac just makes it and has made it all this time.
Like Sony distributes the game, and some company from San Francisco, PR company, gives me the code, and Universal shits all over it, and that's the process.
Yes. Yeah, because Universal, a subset of Universal is the one that made the movie. Universal doesn't like Let's Plays, period. And for the most part, there's, no real conflicts, period.
Right. It's a movie studio.
But in this case, you've got 3 different companies, and none of them feel like working together with the whole press thing, so...
Nope.
Fuck Let's Players. Because Sony's actually really good about Let's Players. But Universal being a movie company.
From Focus Features, which is a NBC Universal spin-off thing for indie or something.
Trying to picture a game company giving
films.
Press copies and then claiming monetization on the press copy footage. That would be such a dick thing to do. That
has happened. That's not unheard of, but it's rare. Oh shit! What was the?
Because at least that's contained within one company.
It was actually not quite the same, but I believe it was Shadow of Mordor. When WB was releasing Shadow of Mordor, they had a force gag order thing where you could only monetize your videos if you agreed to do XXX and X. So not quite the same, but it was like if a bug shows up, period, you have to quit your stream entirely and block it out and make sure it doesn't make it to YouTube.
Oh, come on.
You can't say anything bad about the game, a bunch of other things. So, Total Biscuit was obviously yelling about it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found it to be kind of incredible that, I don't know if you ever played Shadow of Mordor, but it was fun as hell. It was a great game. And they're just we're going to go full draconian on this one because we can. And it's WB, are you insane?
You're always in trouble if you're playing anything by WB on YouTube because they block every single piece of cutscene or audio they can.
Yep. I think that WB, they almost have an argument if they're paying the YouTuber specifically to do a promotional thing. Don't say anything bad if you're getting paid to basically hype this person's game.
Yeah,
the Jeff Keighley approach.
Hand, if you're just blanket shotgunning out press copies, then you don't get the you can't do that with a movie. I'll give you a advanced review copy, but only if you do something good, or if you say something good about it.
And the thing is, when a channel is full shill mode, don't people lose trust in that at some point?
Yep.
When like
Game Grumps did all their promo videos and they were terrible and they stopped doing it.
There was a lot of channels I couldn't watch anymore because there were the definition of what I would call like enthusiast press. Where all they do is like basically be part of the advertising arm of various companies. And then,
wow, look at this cool thing.
Like the one note excitedness just defeats all meaning at some point, and it's just like it's like the Toby Turner approach basically for a while.
Brothers, Tale of Two Brothers, or whatever that was. That was one of their worst Let's Plays I've ever seen. Just like
it's kind of a shame because it's actually a really good game. But
but when you're forced to be so artificial, it just immediately like sucks the life out of the LPer.
Oh, they did.
Yep.
I don't even remember this.
They did it for like 2 episodes, and then they were like, "Yeah, I don't think we're going to do these things anymore." It was a one-off
episode 2 years ago, is why I don't remember it.
Yeah. It's pretty old. They put this practice on the kibosh really fast. They still do it occasionally where they'll be given like a copy or whatever and they'll go bananas on it. But usually it's actually the games they like as opposed to like the sponsored ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Now on some level, like I kind of get why some channels just give up and just be positive about everything. Because if you're negative about anything, that's how you get everyone mad at you. Because
do you remember my Fallout Deserts of Homeworld Deserts of Karak
every time you criticize anything, everyone's furious with you. Period.
Yep.
Hell, I criticized a game that was just objectively ass that we were playing together, and someone was mad at me for that, and it's like, what the? But look at it, man. Like, there's nothing redeeming about this game.
No. If you criticize something that somebody likes, you're basically criticizing them and saying that they're a bad
person. It's true.
Yeah.
People will definitely take that as a slight against themselves.
You gotta remember that you're literally shitting down the throat of their personality. But to be fair, they have shitty personalities.
My video for Homeworld Deserts of Karak, 4,300 views, 64 likes, 38 dislikes.
That's
the
impressive.
Rest of the series was pretty positive, but there was just that.
That's almost as bad of a ratio as you'd get if you made like an anti-vaxxer video.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a market to tap into. Being an LPer that just goes on anti-vax tirades every single video.
In the middle of the Let's Plays.
Like they're playing like Fallout, they're like, I bet the apocalypse wouldn't have happened if they didn't damn vaccinate all their kids.
Gotta vaccinate asteroids. What are we talking about?
Asteroids are natural.
What are we talking about right now?
I don't know.
I'm afraid.
Video games.
I'm actually afraid.
Video games and vaccinations.
I can see why... Okay, Keith, you go first. I'll shut up.
You do it. You were on topic still. I was changing topic.
Fine. Okay. I can see why a lot of YouTubers would go straight shill mode. I don't know. I guess, Keith, you're in the Skype group, but like every once in a while they talk about sponsorship deals and getting like thousands of dollars for these things. And it's just like, I could see kind of basing yourself around that as long as you can kind of keep true to form.
Pretty hard to do the true to form, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like, you get big enough as a channel and it just doesn't matter anymore. Like, I think that's it for the Game Grumps. Yeah, they could pick up some extra money from sponsorship deals, or they could just keep doing what they're doing, get more views, and grow. They also took down my Ratchet and Clank episode 1? Really?
Oh, yeah.
Surprise!
That has movie scenes in it. The first several missions of that game are non-stop movie scenes.
Oh, yeah! They did actually take down my first episode. They originally just blocked it for copyright.
Yep.
It, like, not copyright, but, like, no monetization. Wow! Fuck them! Alright, yeah, I've got, like, part of a series. Episodes 2 through 9.
I took my entire series down after, like, the beginning and ending of it started both disappearing.
I'm just gonna leave it up.
I just don't want to deal with the questions
I'm gonna leave
anymore.
it up.
What you should do is you should look up every possible glitch in the game and make one video that's just you just like breaking the game and just be like, this game sucks.
It's actually a pretty well made game. That'd be a little hard.
Well, that ruins that
Despite
idea.
being a kind of rushed feeling, like it feels a little rushed as a movie tie-in because it's a reinterpretation of the original game and seems to have like half as many planets in it. So like there's less content there, but what they have is really well done. And like it actually was blowing my mind sometimes, and I kept remarking this when I was playing in it a little bit, was that I would walk into a room full of like destructible objects, blow everything up all at once. All the ridiculous little bolts that make up the currency in the game would form this giant swirling vortex of these like 3D objects flying around that fly into your character. And it's all running perfectly at like 60 frames per second, and it's like the screen's covered in particles and shit. I'm like, how is this game running right now?
It makes me want a resurgence of that type of game.
Yeah.
But I'm just still super not okay.
It's like a game that makes you excited about
salty.
whatever the banjo game is that's coming out.
Oh yeah, ukulele.
Ukulele.
Yeah, I already I pre-ordered that a while ago.
The other string instrument that normal people don't play. Yeah, it makes me look forward to something like ukulele on proper modern tech that isn't tied to a weird movie deal.
Yeah, like I'd love to see that. I'd love to see like Jak and Daxter. Shoot.
I totally forgotten about Jak and Daxter. That kind of came out at the same time Ratchet and Clank did.
Yeah,
but,
everyone's forgotten
I would
about
say
Jak and Daxter. It's like the only one of
I would
those
say
PlayStation 2 mascot characters not getting a movie right now.
It's true.
Because they're doing a Sly and a Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, right,
I'm
yes.
just anticipating the
Cooper.
Spyro movie anytime now.
Oh, no. I don't know if that would
That's
work.
a PlayStation 1 mascot.
Yeah.
Go back
go
like
back to PS1 and make Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon movies.
Disney
Channel.
Let's just
I
cross
just
them over.
want the
Have a Spyro
games.
the Bandicoot.
Spyro the
movie.
Bandicoot. It's just Purple Crash.
That just sounds like a Prince tribute movie.
no, Purple Crash sounds like a really bad like grape energy drink.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Hey kids,
so
you want some Purple Crash?
So Prince just died, and the thing about that is that I found out he was dead because of a pun. Like I was,
what was the pun?
it was like some sort of. I was on Imgur, and there was some sort of like punny thing referring to Prince, and I was able to reverse engineer from the trying to figure out what the joke was to realize, oh, Prince must have died. And like that was the way I realized that one of the biggest musical people that people talk about is just flat out dead is some dumb image joke someone made on the internet that I saw before any of the news. And that's not the most flattering way for that to go.
Yeah, that sucks.
There's our modern
Kind of reminds
technology.
me of I wonder if anybody found out about like Osama bin Laden getting killed because of this stupid meme about like Osama bin Laden was the world's greatest hide and go seek player or whatever.
Oh no!
That would be
I
a
had my
terrible way to
entire-
find that news.
I don't know why, but I had like almost my entire dorm floor crammed into my room because I was one of the only people with the TV. Because like who the fuck has TVs anymore?
Whenever I hear about
sophomore
dorms,
year.
it makes me happy I didn't experience them.
It was fun, but like we just had everybody in there like listening as they reported bin Laden being taken out, and I was just like, it was at like 2 or 3 in the morning too. Like they announced that shit late, which go figure. But
Well, yeah, it probably happened like 3 in the
it
afternoon
was just
over
like
there.
really surreal from my perspective to have a party in my room celebrating somebody's death, no matter how scummy they were.
Oh yeah, that was really creepy to talk about news that's like 9 years old at this point, but whatever.
We had death celebrations.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, anyway, we've gotten way, way off the beaten path.
I tried looking up Prince death images to try to find out references to it to see if I could find the image that showed me in the first place, but most of the results are just that one really fat guy that fell over on the bus and is passed out.
What the hell are you talking about?
You never seen that before? He's just like
No.
he's completely passed out on like the bus seat, but it's too small, so he rolled over into the aisle, and he just has his gut sticking through the rail and into like the staircase you take down to get off the bus, and he's just still passed out. And that's most of the results I have when I try to find the joke that told me that Prince died. It's because
So,
the usual
let's
caption
switch
is,
gears.
The usual caption's "Good night, sweet Prince."
Andrew, I have a question.
Yes.
What was it like buying chickens?
It was
yeah.
it
Do they come
was
in a box?
easy.
I feel like we should talk about chickens because I want to hear about
Did
this.
you get mail order chickens?
No, I just went down to the Western Ranch and Supply store that's in town and just bought them.
Oh,
Just-
right.
I'm picturing like a hardware store where you just buy chickens. Like,
Yeah,
what is this?
it pretty much is just
it
a
looks
hardware
like one on
store
the
for
outside.
like Yeah, it's just a hardware store for animal goods, and you just go in there and there's like a tub, and it's full of fucking chickens, and you just go like, I want 4, and they're like, all right, and they just grab 4, and then they put them in a box, and you go home with them.
Are they all like female chickens? Or
yes, they only sell female chickens.
That makes sense. Because I assume male chickens are pretty much only used just for getting more chickens, and then that's about it.
Hens have their uses, or roosters have their uses.
Hens, or roosters.
Roosters have their uses outside of just fertilizing. They're good for they're good as like what's it called? They're good as like corralling, like keeping the hens in place. Like they're good for going around and just like
that makes sense.
You know, like basically like a pimp, like keeping a bitch in line. That same kind of mentality, but for the most part, like buying a hen or buying a rooster is mostly something you would do if you are mating like chickens for the most part.
Right.
So yeah, they don't bother selling them because they're not.
How long does it take a hen to mature?
I believe it's 22 weeks.
That's kind of long.
But once
that's like not even half a year, man.
No, they live for like 5-6 years.
Okay.
Well, because after like 5 or 6 years,
heads off.
Well, I mean, 5 or 6 years is about how long you want to keep them alive before their meat starts getting less favorable. So, like after 5 or 6 years, you want to like eat them. So I figure, like, I wait 22 weeks. They start shitting out eggs like constantly, and then
I was going to ask how often does a chicken lay eggs?
Daily.
I
mean, at least.
Yeah, pretty much daily. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got chickens in my backyard too.
That sounds like
and
they're really busy job for the body.
Yeah.
It's a lot of production.
I mean,
how does a chicken poop out that many eggs?
Because that's just what they do.
Lots.
Well, it's like the thing is like it depends on what you're trying to do. Like if you're making egg-laying chickens, you want to give them things like oysters that have high protein and shit like that, so they don't.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So they don't lose a lot of the protein while they're doing that, because it is like basically giving childbirth like every fucking day. So
ladies,
yeah. So like you have to like imagine the concept of how much your body is like how much a chicken's body is like shitting out for the egg, and like yeah.
Wow.
So you want to like recoup that by leaving oysters and things out for them to like regenerate their protein and calcium.
Mm-hmm.
But
are you gonna name the chickens?
Yeah, one of them. We have one chicken named Jamal right now. And then I don't know what we're gonna name the other 3, but I gotta wait until.
Can you tell them apart?
Yeah, we can tell Jamal apart because Jamal has like a black spot on his beak and he won't shut the fuck up. So that's the only
idea.
Yeah, that's kind of why we named him Jamal, because he wouldn't like shut up, and all my chickens are black, so we're gonna name them all like black stereotypical names. Probably just to be racist, because I mean, why not? That's
you really should just give up and name one of them KFC.
Oh my god!
It's just not. I don't know. It's just not as fun to say. Like it's not fun to say KFC to a chicken.
Wander, that was so bad. Even Andrew's looking down on you for it.
You just start naming your chickens like Buffalo and Teriyaki.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, KFC sounds dumb because it's Kentucky Fried Chicken, so I'm calling a chicken, and like that just seems dumb
you just
to
call
do
it
that.
KF then.
I mean, half the time in video games, I name my dog Cat, and then just go from there. Fuck naming things interesting.
The only valid name anymore is Barkspawn.
I don't know.
We don't
I
need
actually
better
come up with
puns.
like names.
They've been
I mean,
epitomized.
That's
like,
not a good pun.
The most
That's a terrible pun.
I don't know. I think like the most annoying part so far is just building the fucking chicken coop outside. Like that's just been the worst part.
Yeah, I bet.
It's exhausting and like it's pricey. It's like my decision. My decision was either like, okay, I'm either gonna go buy a new iPad to replace my old one, or I'm gonna build a chicken coop. And I was like, I guess I'll just build a chicken coop. So
do you make the chicken coop like out of wood and then have to keep like straw inside of it?
Like because it's going to be outside, I need to get like pressure treated wood because I can't just like get fucking 2x4 plywood.
You can't have like leaky shit like driftwood.
Yeah, and
chickens
like,
are wet all the goddamn time.
And so it's a pain in the ass because like when you're building a chicken coop, you have to also take into account of like 2 things. One, only half of the damn thing needs to be a building. The other half needs to be open so they can walk around and like shit all over the place.
Shit,
and,
yeah.
I'm gonna be watching these damn chickens for the rest of the stream.
Yeah, and
I'm
and
gonna
two,
put this video in the freaking podcast at this rate.
you can. That's fine. It'll be up. It's up for those of you watching. It's up 24/7 for like. It's going to be up forever. And once I finish
forever. Even after he moves out, he's just gonna leave the camera there.
Yeah.
And not
Once I
tell
finish
anybody.
What video are we talking about?
The chicken
Like-
cam.
Where's this chicken cam that got shared?
It's in your chat.
It's in your chat.
Oh,
I can put it into the
completely
lobby.
missed that. Yeah, because I just
I'll put it
clicked.
into the.
Okay,
into the
because I
thing.
clicked on Keith's picture of the fat dude passed out, and I was just, that's not chicken.
I mean,
It's like little baby chickens, like
it
so
may
that-
contain
looking,
chicken.
walking around.
That's legitimately just like your chickens right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why chicken's
shit.
like live.
Yeah, he could run up.
Is this other people's chickens that he's just like posting on his website?
So-
He could run up and stick his face in it right now.
I actually
Yeah,
didn't
I
see
will.
that it was. I didn't see that it was Andrew's website at first. I just saw the
Oh.
chickens because I had friends in college that just had kitten cam on 24/7.
Yep.
Just
I
a
mean, that's
camera,
useful, like for making sure that your shit doesn't die.
like the
Just
puppet
hold on
bowl.
a
No,
second.
like it was just like an official kitten cam that somebody had like running, and
The official
so-
kitten cam for all kittens.
like I
there
think the
can only be
website was
one.
literally just kittencam.com or something silly like that. Like it wasn't there.
Are they like huddling for warmth right now? Oh, he's probably not even here. He's probably
No,
running over there.
he's in the
There's
cam.
the bastard.
That's him
Yeah.
right now.
The chicken's like, oh fuck, no, why?
I like
Okay.
that if I sync this up correctly, we'll see him get up from his camera, walk away, and then just plunges his face into the chickens.
You know, you say that, and I just think of like a tank full of chickens and him like dunking his head in.
like bopping for apples, but with chickens instead.
Those just in his
You know,
house.
if I could buy a chicken that just like never grew out of chick stage, I'd be much more interested in it.
There you guys
Like,
go.
chickens
adult
themselves
chickens are
kind
cool.
of annoying. I mean, they're
Andrew's,
cool,
we had
but they're
Andrew's
like,
mouth for scale.
Yeah.
You
So,
did it, Andrew. You
Are
successfully.
they like huddling for warmth right now, or what's up?
No,
with
they're kind of
this?
just like now they're just kind of freaking out. They're just kind of like, what the fuck just happened? Why did this?
Well,
why did
they
someone
were
just-
kind of like huddled together.
They just had their Rick and
We got
Morty.
molested
They just
by
had
a
their Rick and Morty
man-based
moment where
thing.
they had to put on a show to save the
Okay.
world.
You know what? I'm gonna. My live audience can't see this, and I just realized I should probably.
Well, I pasted the link to their chat.
Yeah.
They might have all missed it though.
This is
fault
true.
at some
I'm
point.
just gonna replace. Podcast with chicken cam. There we go. Perfect.
There'll just be an official
why not?
chicken
I mean,
cam
it's
in
just
all
a-
future podcasts.
I mean,
I'd
it's
be
just
okay
a
with
static
it.
image. Oh
if
yeah, absolutely.
if we're ever missing one person, the fourth camera will just be chickens.
This is the chickens.
Here,
Okay, so related.
Is it though?
So, well, my thing is related, and
Oh.
absolutely. So, speaking of birds, we have. I've mentioned before that we have turkeys in my yard, right?
I think so.
probably.
No,
I have turkeys. I have like 20 turkeys.
that's a
I've-
fuck ton of turkeys.
Where I worked,
Yeah,
we had
like they
turkeys
wa-
that would attack small people.
Yeah, they don't attack anybody because the whole neighborhood feeds them. But they live in my trees and my neighbor's trees, kind of interchangeably, depending on the state of the trees for the year. So if if some of the trees aren't like properly shaded or
Well, it just depends on the local
various
housing
things.
market.
kind of, yeah.
Mhm.
They're like they really are quite picky for whatever reason. But so every year you'll see turkeys with their chicks running through, and then there will just be like an insane number. One morning, oh god, this was probably back in like February. I woke up to hear a turkey screaming because it was two bull turkeys having a contest over who was going to be the alpha, bull turkey, and who was going to be presumably just like I don't know, exiled or whatever. I don't know how turkey culture works.
Turkey.
But effectively, the bigger bull turkey had the other one in a beak headlock and was dragging it around the yard while it screamed. And there was just like 30 other turkeys.
Oh yeah, I'm the alpha turkey.
Pretty much. Like, it was puffed up and huge. All the other turkeys were just awkwardly standing there and watching, which was kind of amusing. But it was super creepy for me because I'm just like, what the hell's screaming outside? Like,
They were just
did somebody's
resigned.
dog get hit? And eventually I just like saw it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I didn't
Just
have
a-
anything to do, so I just went to bed.
It's just a
But,
turkey fight club.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've just been here for years. And so my mother has recently taken to feeding them actively. Because it's kind of funny, because she can kind of make like a fake gobble noise, and she's actually getting better at it. But
Soon her transformation will be complete.
so she's been feeding them sunflower seeds. So every day at 5 o'clock, there will just be a herd of turkeys just patiently waiting, staring at the bucket, waiting for her to come back from work and throw them sunflower seeds. And it's like adorable, but they're also like really ugly because turkey heads are gross.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, can we just like force breed them to have feathers on their heads again? I'll be okay with it
look
past
like
that point.
testicles with wings.
I know.
I mean,
it's
that's
gross.
exactly what they are.
Also, yep.
I mean, they're like turkeys are completely retarded creatures.
Yeah.
That,
Oh yeah, quite stupid.
I mean, yeah.
we
Their
had
head is like 1% of their body mass.
Yep. We had peacocks in Croatia, and they were beautiful and also stupid. But they had feathered heads, and I was totally okay with that. I was like, can I just have peacocks again? Nope.
There was a peacock that used to stare us down when we went on our field runs for my job, where we're out collecting samples, and we'd go down a country road, and a peacock would always cut us off on our way back out and just stare us down, and we had to try, like, it would not respond to any sort of like horns or approaching it with the car, and you'd have to like physically chase it off and get out of the car to not run it over.
Yeah.
Some people
I
would
don't
have just
like
run
turkeys.
it over at that point. Like we had turkeys in front of the place I worked, just in the parking lot area, and we eventually found out that the reason they were constantly there was because the receptionist was secretly feeding them every day. And there was just this herd of turkeys right outside, including the bull male and everything. And if you were like 5 feet tall or shorter, they would chase you.
Yep.
They were just actively aggressive.
Yeah, the turkeys down by the high school were much more aggressive in my town because obviously they kind of have to be because nobody's feeding them normally.
Yeah.
Oh right, they'd also fight with the geese. Watching turkeys fight with geese is actually really kind of weird.
Well, really,
turkeys and their beaks are nasty. They're not.
Geese are dicks, and they're gigantic too.
Yeah, but like they don't have anything on a turkey because the turkey can rip. Geese can just kind of bite. It's not as dangerous.
I've seen geese intimidation tactics work before, though.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
brother was trying to hassle them at one point out by a pond, and he tried just sprinting at two geese, and they both, instead of taking off, both turned towards him and hissed and like puffed up and everything. And he
that hiss
backpedaled.
is like freaky.
Like his reaction was that he hesitated and kind of backpedaled, but he was already moving forward in the sludge, so he just ended up sliding feet first through the mud because he hesitated and just made a fool of himself in front of two birds that could not do shit to him as like a 6'4" teenager. What really caught me off guard when I first encountered the turkeys in the area was just the fact that every single time a turkey gobbles, it sounds like a stock sound. Like
They're very consistent.
Yeah, it's like a real life Wilhelm scream of like hearing it consistently and like if someone's playing or it sounds like a ringtone. It weirds you out, and it has range, so you'll hear it from across the block, crystal clear, like it's a freaking sound file playing in your ear. And nothing sounds that way. I guess that does mean
that if you ever need to record a turkey gobbling, just go ahead and use stock sounds with impunity, and you're fine.
Yeah, who will know?
No one's ever going to catch you.
Just pitch shift it like a Minecraft sound.
Yeah.
You got this.
So it kind of looks like
Andrew, tell us about the anime dating games.
What?
Tell us about your anime dating games.
Actually,
what about them?
Kind of related. Did any of you guys bother playing Honeycam or no?
I did.
No.
I beat it.
Was it good?
I mean, good is subjective. What are you looking for?
Good is not necessarily subjective.
I was expecting.
Good
I don't want to quibble.
I mean, good is very subjective when it comes to
I never expected quality as a matter of opinion to come from Andrew.
I mean, it's a fucking, it's a goddamn tycoon game. What the fuck do you want?
Well, yeah, but there's some damn good tycoon games, and there's some not damn good tycoon games. Like
it's not a damn good tycoon game.
Okay, there we go.
That's
all I needed to know. Yeah. Is it Game Dev Tycoon
today.
or is it Game Dev Company or whatever that shitty one was?
It's okay. So imagine if you had a Facebook game style tycoon game with no barrier on gameplay. So like, there's never a paywall that you hit. You just
No
like
energy
are
bar.
constant. Yeah, like there's no energy bar or anything, but there's like, but it's like the basic concept of a Facebook style game. Like all you're doing is you're just drag and dropping girls into spots, and then like either waiting for them to finish or like clicking repetitively or holding the mouse on a building for them to finish faster, and then just repeating the process, basically
That's
until, yeah.
awful.
It's not like it's not imaginative or like, whoa, you did a crazy game design here. It's just like
It
it's
sounds
just
like a free-to-play game.
I'm watching one of your
That's what I'm
videos right
saying.
now, and it
Yeah,
currently looks like Cookie Clicker Game Dev Tycoon.
Wow.
Huh.
That
yeah,
sucks.
kind of. It's
How often do you see boobies, though?
never. It has no fapping material.
On the screen I'm
Yeah,
looking at right
'cause,
now, I can't even see things that are their faces. I see 5 or 6 faces on the side of the screen, and they all
Yeah,
look
you
like the same
barely-
person, but color switched a little bit.
Yeah, you barely see them. I honestly think it's like a way subpar version game of like Honey compared to Honey Pop.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I assume it's
Wow.
called Honeycam because of Honey Pop, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
made by the
same
same
people.
dev.
So they're just trying to do rebranding. They're trying to use their brand to make more sales, but for totally unrelated games, basically.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh. That's
Huh.
not what I expected to have happen with that.
I was hoping they'd
I
make
mean-
another Honeycam, or a Honey Pop, but I guess they
Next one
wanted
of a
to.
Honey Pop tie-in kart racer.
Oh, great.
I don't know. It's,
I mean, I was
like, the-
expecting something closer to like a Sakura clicker.
It's, I mean, I will give it credit that, like, the game never stops being, like, a stress ball. Like, you never have a time to just sit there and be like, alright, I got time to breathe. Like, no, you gotta do shit all the fucking time. Like, if you're not doing something, you're gonna fail the game. And it's like, that's kind of nice that you're not just sitting there idly
Yeah.
waiting for dumb bitches, but...
I do kind of like that in Tycoon games where there's like actually a challenge, because like I'm thinking Holy Potatoes a Weapon Shop, which is just like, I mean, I could just not do anything and still win.
Yeah, this game you will lose if you're not... like, the first time you play, you'll be lucky if you get the bronze medal. Like, it's a
Wow.
it has a very steep, like, win cap. And I don't know why either. Like, it like, for some reason, it's just like it, and the thing that really upsets me, and that's the biggest gripe I have, is that if you go through the tutorial, it's basically guaranteed that you're not going to get better. Like, you'll either barely get bronze or you won't get bronze at all. Because the tutorial doesn't give you all the access to all the buildings until like halfway through the game. Which is really weird.
Sounds kind of like the XCOM problem, where when you play this, you're almost better off playing the tutorial and like 2 or 3 hours of the game to get an idea of what the weird system is, but then starting over from scratch because the tutorial
Yes.
kind of screwed
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the tutorial's like, what if we just kill half your characters immediately? Woohoo!
Yeah. I
Yeah, and
actually...
that's-
I really wish tutorials stopped being so handholdy, because you don't really learn what you're doing. You're just kind of like, all right, it's a tutorial, just follow the directions. And then you're let loose and you're like, what the fuck do I do? I'd rather it just like almost be programmed so like you fuck up and it tells you why you fucked up. And it's like, you put this guy out here and this guy came from this direction, and, you know, kind of predicts all of your moves. Because there's only so many moves that can happen in like a short XCOM mission. And so unless you pull like some ridiculous nonsense, to generally be able to tell you, yeah, this was a good idea, this was not a good idea. Okay, you know what you're doing, or you're a fuck up, here's some VR training to get you better.
You know, it's like it's really weird to say, but I'm sure none of you have played it. But there's a new like Candy Crush style game that's Futurama themed, and the way that they introduce you to that game is like there's a lot of elements about that game that are really interesting and fun. Like if they have a lot of quips to insult the player for like not doing well. Like if you keep trying to it's like a match 4 kind of game, but if you keep trying to match 3, it goes like, hey, stupid, it's match 4. And like just stuff like that, where like they do a lot of stuff where like especially like if you like when you fail a level, they like specifically tell you like based on how close you were to beating it. Like, they give you an insult based on how close you were to beating it. And it's like, wow, that's really, like, okay, thanks, I guess. It's, I don't know, it's like there's a time when, like, you don't have to always just be like, okay, you take the tutorial, so I guess now you're good, bye forever. Where it's like, it is kind of nice when there's a game that sometimes will show up and be like, hey, maybe if you didn't make that mistake, you'd be okay. It's like, okay, well, that's nice.
I think I already hate this game.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like something I'd play.
But I'm just watching the video in the background while he's talking, and I just I hate looking at it already. Like, I'm just looking at it and I'm unhappy about it.
It's one of those games, like, unless you're willing to put up with a lot of like repetition, very, very, very boring repetition, like, you're gonna hate the game.
It is rather impressive how it manages to perfectly capture the visual aesthetic of like the stereotypical Facebook game with the bubble buttons and the pale colors and.
Gonna be totally honest, it's really easy to replicate that style.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's just like a standard like widget package.
I did that professionally.
But
there
like
were widget packages.
Yeah,
like
that's just like you download that, like that comes. Yeah. That's like the default style for like whatever your GUI builder is.
So the last thing I did at my job was to make a easily customizable widget package to use across all of the games, so people didn't have to keep making new ones. So now I go back and
that
look
does
at
not sound like job security.
It's just the same thing. Yeah.
We plan on keeping you around for a very long time, so could you please make something that automates your entire position so we don't have to replace you?
I mean, at that point, I had already wanted to quit for like 3 months. And this is the first time the art directors said nothing to me. They're like, yeah, it looks great. Like, keep doing it. I'm like, okay. You know, job satisfaction's up. I finish. By the way, we have to let you go. See ya.
It makes me think of when I was doing my spreadsheet job, and I was getting further and further along in automating my own job, but then thinking, like, maybe I shouldn't show anyone this.
That's definitely.
That's what I do on
Here's the thing that kind of skips my entire job.
If you show that to them, they'll say, "Hey, great work! You're fired."
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do at my job every day, but I don't tell anybody. Like, they give me shit.
Never tell people that.
I have the same
never reveal your tools of the trade.
At the same time, it's better, sort of, than like quitting. Like, for Keith and myself specifically, we didn't care about our jobs. Like, we want to be professional Let's Players, and we're well on our way to doing so. So, like,
I wanted to care about my job.
Fired meant you wanted to, and you realized it wasn't worth it after a while.
Well, because I wanted to actually work in my field, but I looked for a job in my field for a year, and the only thing I got was something where you stare at spreadsheets all day and don't do any of that. So it was like something that only on paper looked like it would be related to the field, but then in practice, it was just balancing numbers on spreadsheets for an entire year.
But because they let me go instead of me quitting to pursue my dreams or whatever, I got paid for like another 6 months, and I was totally okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate my job, but I just also don't like my coworkers enough to tell them how to make their job easier.
So they didn't fire you for Coswander?
Like, what?
They didn't fire you for Coswander? They just fired you because they said, like, you're miserable here, we're not going to give a reason why?
They said, we just simply don't need you anymore.
Oh,
so they didn't fire you for cause.
Yeah.
Huh. That is how you're able to still get paid. Okay, weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like I was doing gross insubordination or not doing my work. I just hated it there.
Huh.
But, like, I did nothing that would give them cause to deny me unemployment. So,
and honestly, paying him unemployment was cheaper than, like, having him there, probably.
No. I mean, I did find work. They were just moving locations. They didn't need as many people. They replaced me almost immediately with somebody worse, which was hilarious. And
the other thing is that, like, the overhead of a single employee is way more than just what you're paying them too. So,
yeah,
he might have a point that the unemployment's probably cheaper for them.
From a business standpoint, like, having one less employee and paying them unemployment was like, that's the smart way to go. Which is why my tech support company fired me. Was because they were like, yeah, fuck you. You have a shit attitude, and like it's easier to just pay you unemployment. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, my
didn't care.
real goal,
It's
like at
just
the current job,
reactively enough of a problem that they got rid of you because it was less hassle to pay you for nothing than to keep you around.
yeah, I mean,
Until they could
realistically,
fire you
it was
for something,
getting kind of expensive to have me. They had to keep every week they had to buy new stress balls, so they like started getting really upset about that. So they were just like, look, like we can't.
Well,
we're not
were
gonna...
you just like destroying the stress balls?
Yeah, I mean, I was helping
Like a
people in their
Rottweiler?
late. Yeah, like I was helping people in their late 70s set up like a printer over the phone.
I'm just imagining
Oh,
Andrew,
yeah, I can imagine that.
Andrew on like phone tech support, just like talking to
Just, like squeezing the hell out of it, just being like, plug it
little
in.
Granny Eustace, like
Mhm.
just like 1 second, just give me a second. Mutes his microphone, just starts screaming and biting into the stress ball, like not even using it normally, just like.
I mean, it's like the first thing, the first reason I started doing it was because a lady called on the phone was like, I need help setting up a printer, and I was like, okay, well, you know, we're gonna have to send somebody out there. And then my boss was like, no, we're not gonna do that. She pays for a monthly thing, so we'll do it over the phone. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that over the phone. Like that, there's no way. And so I was like, excuse me, do you know what a USB cable is? And she's like, no, I don't. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I was like, I'm not going to help this lady. Like, I'm going to be here for like 3 hours trying to explain how to set up a fucking 2-cable printer.
Oh yeah,
And it's like,
when it's the
there's like,
simplest thing in the world.
yeah. And so my boss just handed me a stress ball and he's like, deal with it. And I was like, okay.
No.
And so I did it. And like at the end, I handed him the stress ball back and it was broken. And I was like, all right, I dealt with it. Give me a new stress ball. And
The hardest thing about old tech support things, be it like job based or just like dealing with family, is that you never are prepared for the things that they don't know, because they can always surprise you. Like a friend of mine, I was trying to teach a friend of mine's mom how to do something like 10 years ago, and I said to put your mouse on this thing on the screen. She physically put her mouse on the screen, and I was
technical writing and
taken
like giving
aback.
Instructions is so hard.
Yeah,
you know, you have to be incredibly clear to communicate that stuff very well.
like
Kind of related.
I had to repeat myself for like an hour when trying to teach my mom the fact that turning on the internet is not the same thing as opening a browser. Because she thought that if the browser wasn't open, that the internet was off. And I could not get her to understand that like the device just works all the time.
That was a struggle I had to explain to my grandparents who like used AOL profusely. And when they got DSL, I had to explain like you don't have to use AOL to get your internet to turn on. Like they would log into AOL and then like close minimize AOL and then use Chrome. And I was like, no, that's not how it fucking works. Like AOL doesn't connect to your internet anymore. It's always on. They're like, well, are we paying for that? And it's like, that's how fucking internet works, you idiot. It's like, yeah, the fucking internet's always on. Like, why would you have to connect the fucking internet?
Like they don't understand that it's basically
that's how
cable.
it was back in 1992.
Yeah.
To be fair, most services have not changed nearly as fast as like the internet, so I can kind of understand why, if you don't see the need to keep with the times will wildly outpace you. Like, cars have been probably one of the most revolutionary things, and they developed pretty slowly. Like, we didn't have like the really fast sports cars for like, well, in the 1920s, like back then it was 20 miles an hour was considered blindingly fast.
Yeah, a lot of older people got used to the concept of like 700 hours of AOL CDs and then never noticed when things changed.
Yeah.
Yep. And like those things were a thing up until the mid 2000s too. So like it's very easy to get lost in all of that.
Oh yeah,
so I played Diablo 2
on dial-up.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a real thing that happened in my life.
I think we all had to pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I played.
I had a friend in middle school. We played competitive StarCraft against him, and he was on dial-up, and we knew if we called him, we'd kill his internet. So every once in a while,
you're a dick.
So he was
the worst.
He was not a nice person to begin with. Like he would totally do this to you if he could.
Fair enough.
So like, yeah, it's like when you and I are pranking back and forth. It's like if you pranked me and then I pranked you back and you got sensitive about it. It's like no justification that you deserve this shit. So he wouldn't even be winning. We just do it to mess with him, like towards the end of the game, and it would just like lag him out, and you get really annoyed, and then you come back, and like everything's changed. Like at one point, he came back, Because it would just stall him while the call was there. Like, he's still connected, just
Right.
like
Yeah.
no data or something. So
Because it never sounds like a drop connection.
Yeah, so I
packet.
systematically just destroyed all of his structures while, people kept calling him, and just surrounded his, remaining command center and singular SCV with nothing but photon cannons just out of range. So if he tried to move, he'd die.
Jesus.
That was the last time we got away with that. But boy, was it funny.
I remember in the dial-up days, because I was super addicted to Diablo 2, but we had one computer, and my brother played two, and we had to share it constantly. And our parents didn't understand the concept of how those games work, so their idea of fairness was to set an egg timer on 15-minute intervals and make us switch over and over again, which is like an impossible way to play Diablo 2. So I used to sneak downstairs and put a pillow over the computer tower to mute the dial-up sounds so I could play in the middle of the night.
Why didn't you just remove the dial-up sound? You
Because
do realize
I was
that's
11 and didn't know.
Come on,
Yeah.
fucking asshole!
You just think
Could
stuff
ask
works
Jeeves.
that way.
Like
Wow.
you had
I was gonna say,
Jeeves.
I remember one time.
Jeeves.
I don't think I
My
knew about
parents,
Jeeves till it was gone. Or is it gone?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
it's gone.
that's Jeeves. Well,
It's became
technically,
Ask Alta Vista now or
Yeah.
some bullcrap. Who cares? Anyway,
Ask
I
Alfred.
remember my parents bought
I
DSL
want
for the
Ask
first time and
Alfred.
upgraded from what was it? Like dial-up.
Well, they got
days.
rid of Jeeves. They fired the butler.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got out of the dial-up days and went with DSL. And I remember I looked at like the frame, like my FPS counter in all my games, and I was like, what the hell? It hasn't gone up. I thought we got DSL. What is this crap?
what?
I thought we were going to get up to 60 frames per second.
Come on!
And I was like mad about this.
I had that same experience as a kid at one point where we went from DSL to cable, and I expected WoW to run better. And I didn't understand that the reason why WoW lagged so hard in Ironforge wasn't because of latency issues, but because there was just way too much shit being loaded into the physical game on my computer, which I
Yeah.
believe
So-
had 128 megs of memory.
Oh, the
Not-
Windows XP days.
It's not an internet story, but I've been making computers since I was like 6 or 7.
Same here.
And it's always been fine. We never really used them for much, and most of the games weren't very demanding. But I want to say when I was in like 7th grade, I made a computer, but my dad's like, "Nah, you don't need a graphics card. You don't need these things. Just use with the onboard because all your games are going to run fine." I played through the entirety of Halo 1, which actually ran fine without a graphics card. Like, the onboard was clearly not enough, because I was at a friend's house playing Halo 2. I was like, why is Master Chief green? Because
wow.
for the graphics card version, he's white. Like, for the no graphics card version, he was white on the PC.
Oh, no.
Because they couldn't handle like the texturing or what?
Yeah, there was no normal mapping. There were very minimal textures. Master Chief was just pure stark white.
I have to see if there's like a white Master Chief.
I have no idea if I could ever replicate this again, because obviously, like, that computer's dead. But it was just kind of this like incredible revelation that, oh hey, graphics cards are good. Go buy one, you dumbass. So
I had the opposite experience where my computer was too good for something, and I tried launching Diablo 1, and the entire game
and then it says you have too much RAM.
Well,
Please
what happened to me is the entire
get
game
rid
had
of RAM.
inverted
What?
colors.
yeah, that happens.
You
The whole
forgot
game
to
was like,
you forgot
the
to
whole game was
lower
like pink
the.
and white and shit.
Yeah, you put on too many. Your color display was too high. It only like supports
Yeah.
like 16 bits or something like that.
I remember that one
I
day where
pasted
we
in
tried to.
untextured Master Chief.
Oh no.
Go ahead and
He just looks
chase
transparent.
upon. Yeah, he's
That-
like Master Ghost.
Whoa, he's the T-3000.
Yeah.
He's gonna cop his way through a wall.
Okay, so I wanna say something. Like I before anything
That's a
before this
dangerous
ends.
beginning to a sentence from Andrew.
Yeah, but before this ends, I want to say something, which was I'm really upset at the commenters for suggesting I watch Boku no Pico.
What is that?
Yeah, we should bring this one out.
Like,
Yeah.
what is that,
I went in.
like Pikachu Academy.
No.
I don't know.
No. I went into this with
You don't Japanese.
stop. All right, Keith, your homework before next week is to
No.
watch
No. He's not gonna watch it. He's gonna watch like 30. He's gonna watch 30
television
seconds
to watch.
He's gonna watch 30 seconds of it and quit immediately. Like he's not gonna even get past the opener. So let's just be real here.
Probably.
It just
Probably true.
I'm so mad because I went in without knowing anything. I didn't look it up. I didn't want to do research because I wanted to be surprised because I was like, I've never heard of this.
God, I'm
mission
looking at it right
accomplished on
now.
being surprised, huh?
I wanted to be surprised because like this is actually an anime I don't know. Everybody's acting like I should have seen it before, so I was like, I'm gonna go into this super surprise. And so I decided to set up a camera and film myself watching it for the first time with my roommates. And
With your roommates,
with
you
my
brought them in
roommates,
on this?
and so we sit there.
There's
and we're
some
watching,
like-minded roommates, though.
and we're watching the opener. And right, like everything's okay. We're like, oh wow, that's kind of weird. It's like a little naked 12-year-old girl. Okay, well that's kind of funky. and then it gets to this fucking scene at the very end, and it's showing both of them, like this older man and this 12-year-old girl, and they're like, naked, and they're hanging out next to each other, and it's scrolling downward. And as the camera pans down to the very bottom, they both have dicks. And I was like, wait a second. Oh my God, is this about a 12-year-old boy and a fucking 25-year-old man? Like, I can't. Oh no.
And your roommates, what did they think of you?
We all sat there for a second and we're like, wait a second, what are we watching? And we just watched it. And there was, oh God, in the beginning it was okay, where we were like, all right, I guess we'll tolerate it. It's kind of creepy, but whatever. And then it gets to this point where it's like, okay, come on, man.
This whole thing feels like a conspiracy. Like you had a circle of people who all like heavily recommended this thing, like it was freaking Citizen Kane, and you're just going in like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go in blind and bring all our friends and watch this movie. It's called a Serbian film, and we'll just find out.
I didn't look up because I added it to my anime list, but I didn't actually read the description. I just saw that it was like a 1-episode OVA, and I was like, yeah, I can definitely watch an OVA. It's not gonna be long. It's 30 fucking minutes. 30 fucking minutes of child porn. I was like, come on, man. Like, 5 minutes is fine, but like 30 minutes? Like, 30 minutes is a problem now. Like, I was so mad because like, I got through 20 minutes of it, and I was like, okay, we've had fucking 4 sex scenes. I think... I was like, I think there's only 10 minutes left, which means we should be clear. No! At the fucking last 5 minutes, they're like, another sex scene. I was like, come on, guys! Like, there has to be a limit to how many fucking dicks can be shoved in an asshole in one episode. Like, you gotta stop. And like, I will say there was only one good thing about that the entire episode, which was there was a perfect scene where it showed both of them standing up, and then there's this giant moon in the background, and there's cum coming out of them next to the moonlight. And I was like, this is a really good...
We're done.
Breaks.
Let's talk about other shit.
No.
You know what? I want to name this podcast Regret Cast because I don't want to hear about Boku no Pico. I don't want to see Boku no Pico.
I don't want to see it either.
This is a very
Stop fucking talking about it.
I'm just mad because your fucking audience was the one who suggested it to me.
Dumbass that agreed to it.
This is a very confusing conversation to listen to while watching
and
the little
brought
chicks.
his roommates.
I'm still watching the chicks play in the fucking straw.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching this entire time with just this like growing frown on my face. She was like,
look,
no.
Man, I'm just saying, I'm really upset that this is why I don't listen to people when they tell me to watch something, because this is the kind of shit that
my audience ever when they tell me to watch or play anything.
Secrets out.
I don't know. They saw my anime list. I figured they'd recommend me something that would be relevant to my anime list.
If you haven't heard of it,
why did you trust them?
Wait,
why did you trust them?
How does someone recommend anime that's relevant to your list of all anime on your anime list?
I don't know. I watched an amazing movie the other day. I mean, I watched a great movie called Spriggan. Like, that was cool. Like, I've never seen that before. I mean, granted, the plot is fucking garbage. It's like Jewish people created technology to destroy the planet. But, like, whatever.
Oh,
it's
so it's
okay.
autobiographical.
It's
I didn't
literally
realize this is a documentary.
it's literally it's like it literally says that in the past Hebrews wrote this special glyph that could not be destroyed, and on it held the secrets.
Oh my god, it's the plot to Wolfenstein.
And so, like, the whole time, the first thing that happens is someone pulls out, like, this square processor, and then I'm watching it with my buddy Joe, and he goes, that is a Jewish processor. And I was like, okay, I guess it is. And so, this guy takes out the processor and puts it in this machine, and it, like, opens this door, and it's like inside has like dinosaurs in it, and like time is stopped, and it's like, I'm a weather device. And I'm like, did the Jewish people just build a weather device and die out? Like, what happened? And so it's like, it's the whole thing is so weird.
Like the Jews are now the forerunners?
They are. Like, that was the whole point. It was
old
like
society that no one knows about, but all the technology lives on.
Yeah, like the plot was that the Jewish people wrote the Bible as like a forerunner.
Well, they did.
Yeah, like a forerunner instruction Bible or instruction booklet to tell you like how to not fuck up with the technology they left behind. And like they apparently created this technology and then killed themselves with it, and then were like, yeah, I think the next people will figure out how to use it right. And like,
but if the Jewish people got killed, then how come they're still Jews?
In this world, there are not
Checkmate
Jews.
atheists.
Checkmate Hitler.
And like in this world, Hebrew is a dead language. Like
biblical Hebrew is a dead language.
But yeah, it's like Hebrew language is like dead language. Like Hebrews don't exist. It's like the world is like not, it does not like talk about Jews anymore. So
we just don't talk about them. It's not after their weird robot.
It's just like every time something was happening, like it was so fun to sit there and blame Jewish people. Like, oh no, they're like the building's on fire. Well, it's because of fucking Jewish technology. And it's like it's like everything. The whole movie was just like, basically there's two very important points in the movie. One, Jews created like death machines, and two, America is an asshole. Like, that was the whole center point of the movie.
I mean, that's true pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, it was just like specifically, they like specifically had a villain who was American. Like, they specifically had to make him American. Like,
did he dress like Elvis and eat hamburgers?
He was just a kid. He was like a kid with a baseball cap and and like wearing a sweater. He looked like someone from like New York, like a baseball fan from New York. He has like a baseball shirt, like a baseball sweater. He has like a cap that has like says something on it, and he just like has short hair and talks really annoying. And he's like, I'm from America, and America's gonna use this weather machine to like destroy the planet. And I was like, why? Why the fuck would America do that? Like, wouldn't America just want to like hold the power and threaten people with it? Why would they literally use it? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Andrew has become the weirdest little filter to experience Japanese media through.
I know. It's like a sieve, but all you get out of one side is just shit.
I watch a lot of garbage.
And you're like, are we beneath the toilet? And no, it's like blue sky, and you're like, where's this coming from?
I'm just saying,
that analogy was really strange. Why is there a sky involved with the sieve?
I'm saying, like, most of
butthole pooping into it.
Look, it's a little bit broken, but it's just like everything is fine. Where is he getting this from?
There is a functional metaphor for Andrew's cynicism that you would hold up like a coffee filter up to like a rain cloud, and just actual fecal matter would come out somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the filtered out terribleness would somehow be components of things that necessarily weren't there in the first place.
He's distilling the smallest particulates from those rain clouds that used to be people's farts. And
use them as a water filter.
Sprinkles, we found them.
You pour it out like a brand new soda or whatever, and you're like, I'm gonna enjoy this glass of water, and it's just raw sewage. Like, what the fuck?
Like,
how did he make the water work?
It's like his temperament is like an atmospheric condenser, but just it's instead of water or like moisture, it's just poop. Just it finds all the poop in the atmosphere and condenses it into solid blocks.
Yeah, my life is pretty shitty, but yeah, see, as a pun, but
see.
So let's
I
move
don't know
away.
everything. Like my mentality
Let's
on
move away
life
from
is just like
Japan.
everything's. My mentality on life is just everything's garbage unless it's proven to be good.
You know,
Like
I get the feeling
that's-
this entire podcast isn't really about us, like you, me, or Bird Keith.
You
It's
think
just
we're all
all about
fictional
Andrew.
people in Andrew's life, in his story.
We're just like kind of. This is like the weekly. This is the weekend review for Andrew,
Yeah, until we talk about
and we're
Dark Souls
just
and
here
phase them
to
out.
give him shit for it. That's it.
I don't.
Because
I
like.
mean,
So, what do you guys think about the fact that movies are now on Steam?
wait, movies
I
are on
didn't know
Steam.
that happened.
Yeah, Mad Max was. I know they kind of pioneered it
Oh.
up.
You can buy.
I know they
Oh, they did it with the
pioneered it with
Dota
some other things.
documentary.
No,
Yeah,
like
like,
an entire studio just signed up on Steam. You can buy like every single Tarantino film on Steam for like $4 each and watch
Like,
and watch
yeah,
them.
like
Yeah,
Lion-
I saw them all in like the new releases, and I was just like, "This is annoying," because I want to look at new games.
Oh yeah,
Like I'm okay with it, except for the fact that Steam doesn't sort. Right?
Yeah.
Cougars Incorporated, Cyborg 2, Sundown,
That's
The
atrocious that
Vampire
it doesn't
Retreat.
sort.
to be fair,
Yeah,
it was already a
God,
problem.
Why is
So-
Steam's like so hard to
okay.
use?
You can sort, so it's like only games or software, streaming videos, downloadable content, but
Yeah.
it still shows up on the main page. And it's not categorized,
Yeah.
so if you look at like all new, it just gives you this like just shitty list. It's like if you it's like if you're on Netflix and you just say new releases, and it doesn't filter any of them out unless you manually like go and start checking things off. So yeah, especially if Netflix started having like porn on it. So you're like, new releases, what do we have? Let's see. Some really bad Kung Fu Panda, straight to DVD movie, a couple of TV shows. Ooh,
Why is
Daredevil.
this nothing but
and
like
just like XXX Slut Party. And it's like,
shitty,
why
horrible
is this here?
movies and like Twilight and Hunger Games?
Well,
Yeah,
it's 'cause it's that
It's all
that
this
studio.
tweeny crap.
It's that studio.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
Lionsgate.
okay.
Lionsgate's
Yeah.
the one who signed up.
So it's
Like
all
Ender's
it's,
Game,
it's,
like,
it's,
it's nothing
every
but-
it's every tween movie and every Tarantino
And
movie.
Tarantino. That's exactly what this looks like.
Yeah.
And Leprechaun 2 through 7.
Which is,
Whoa,
by the
what,
way,
Leprechaun's
Leprechaun
on
2
there?
or whatever is like the most expensive movie on the list.
Wait,
It's
what?
like $8 when everything else is like $4.
Leprechaun in the Hood?
There's a,
What the
there's a
fuck is
Leprechaun
this?
movie that costs twice as much as Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, what the fuck? Why are the Leprechaun movies so expensive? They're the oldest ones.
A Leprechaun in the Hood. A group of aspiring rappers steal a magical flute that instantly makes them successful. However, it also awakens the wrath of the ruthless leprechaun. How
Hell
are these
yeah.
connected
So
concepts?
guys, when are we
what
doing
the hell is this?
Guys, when are we doing a commentary track on that?
I will watch Leprechaun with you guys if you
On
want to. I love
Next
Leprechaun.
podcast, we're all going to watch Leprechaun in the Hood.
Okay.
And
You know what? You know what? It won't even
no.
be a podcast. It's just going to be us doing that and live commentating it. That's just going to be the podcast.
we could do that, I
That's-
guess.
well, that-
Mystery
I-
Science
that's-
Theater it.
That's what I meant. I said commentary.
All right.
I thought you
We
said
can-
like
Jesus
before the
Christ.
next podcast we'd have that put together.
So what I found amusing about this was that Reservoir Dogs is on the list, and if you look at Reservoir Dogs' Steam page, it has a Metacritic score of 50. And I was taken
Wow,
aback by that
really?
because I was like, it's Reservoir Dogs. It's like one of the most critically acclaimed movies he's ever made. What's going on there? It's the video game. The movie has the game's
Oh.
Metacritic score on it.
That's
Oh,
weird.
what the fuck? Come on, Steam.
Because the game is actually really bad. Because you can't make a video game where, spoiler alert, you lose in the
Yeah.
end.
I was just interested because I was looking at the page of literally like one of my two favorite movies of all time, and it had a Metacritic of 50. I'm like, that seems off. Like maybe maybe I'm out of touch, but I thought everyone liked Reservoir Dogs. But there was a game.
That's
that,
one of the good Tarantino movies, right?
yeah,
Oh wow!
one
Yeah,
of
they got-
the good
Yeah,
They
there
ones.
was an awful, awful game for it.
And
So
it was
I'm looking
totally
at
outdated, right? Like it came out 10 years later,
Yeah.
like the Warriors games.
So I'm looking at Reservoir Dogs, and then I scroll down to more like this. So we got Pulp Fiction, Bad Lieutenant, Sim City, Tomb Raider, Gunslugs,
That got
Enter the
fast.
Gungeon, Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
Firewatch, Oculus VR, Synvio,
What?
Back to the
Oculus
Future, the
VR?
game.
Oof.
How the fuck
Indie
is
game
Oculus
does
Come
not-
out
VR?
to play.
I was expecting like him to transition from like Pulp Fiction to like Kill Bill to Kill Bill Part 2, but no, he just straight to Tomb Raider and Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah, I don't know,
I
man.
did not know where that was going to go.
I wonder if you could make like a Sim City game. Like a civil manager just being like, why is there a volcano propping out a downtown? Like, it could be the greatest disaster movie ever made.
I just want to know how the suggested games works, where they're going to be like, Sin City, Bad Lieutenant, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Oh, you've been saying Sin City this whole time. God damn.
Yeah, he was saying Sin City.
I thought you kept saying Sim City.
No,
and it was just like,
That would be
I didn't know it was a
hilarious if
Sim
that was
City
like
movie.
that'd be so I mean like the original Tomb Raider. I don't mean the Tomb Raider movie.
Yeah,
like
when
that.
when I played Sim City, I don't remember Elijah Wood eating anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone remember that? In that movie, he was a straight up
That
cannibal.
was
Right out of being Frodo Baggins, he's a cannibal in a fucked up comic book movie.
I will admit I had a friend who went to watch the movie because Elijah Wood was in it because she had like this huge crush on him.
Man,
she came
She
back
probably
and
didn't
she's
have it
like,
anymore.
"Don't
talk
talk
about
to
a
me.
sentence that
Don't talk
dates,
to me about it anymore."
That dates a story immediately.
Yeah. A huge crush on Elijah Wood.
Yeah, someone saw a movie because Elijah Wood was in it. Was it 2000? Was it 2004? Specifically, like just that 1 year and nothing else.
What, he was in The Hobbit?
Yeah,
And The Hobbit sucks.
he was in
For
the
a
worst part of
second.
The Hobbit, the really pointless prologue.
Yeah.
Prologue before the prologue of the prologue's prologue, because the movie takes a whole movie and a half to start. Oh man, those movies just got worse, right? Like every single one.
I never watched. I never watched the third one. I
third
liked
one
some of the
has about 10
comedy,
minutes
but
of story.
that was about it. Oh, glorious!
It's got 10 minutes of story stretched for about 2.5 hours of just CG
Fighting.
people fighting each other, and really weird uses of CG too. Like there's already a dwarf cast in that game, like all the in that movie, all the main dwarf people. But then a dwarf army shows up midway through the movie, and they have a leader that's supposed to be some sort of defined character, and he's CG.
Bjorn?
He's a CG
Yeah, it's supposed
dwarf.
to be Bjorn,
And I'm
the
like, why
bear.
is he CG?
Oh.
He's supposed to be like the other people, but they have like
Nah.
they can't even cast people apparently for these roles. It just became a.
You know-
you were just watching a video game war, like you're watching Kessen 3 or something.
This is a weird thought that I haven't thought about since I've read The Hobbit. But I read that book when I was like 13, and that book, my edition had like all the maps that Tolkien drew to go along with it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I'm going to try to follow the story along in the map and figure out what's going on.
Oh no.
The fucking maps are, first off, everything's written in Dwarvish. So you're just like, which town are they in right now? I can't translate like tree, L/EX and P into a word. This isn't working for me right
like
now.
a
It's a
Tolkien
super
troll.
weird contrast that the Hobbits are written like a children's book, but it's all hard.
Mhm.
It's all like hard fantasy meant for like 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's like
And
it's
then
a
it's
weird
like-
contradiction built into the fiction.
So, like, here's another part about The Hobbit and trying to follow along in the maps. The Shire isn't located on the map included in the book at all.
Which is where the
So you
story
have no
starts.
idea where to start. So you just are like, well, they enter the woods, and here's where the woods are in the middle. So let's see if I can work backwards to where the hell the Shire was, so I can figure out where they started. And, like, then, okay, here's another thing. There's 2 maps included, one of which focuses just on, like, what is it, this desolate mountain or whatever, where Smog is being like, yeah. There's no indication
There's
of where
well-known
that
personality
map...
trait of bleh.
There's no indication of where on the other map the second map is supposed to be on. So, again, that was also located off to, like, the right side of
Wow.
the map. It was
I would have failed my
experience
major
that
if I did this.
it was an experience that I thought would be so enriching and enlightening to this story, and instead it was just like, why the hell were these things included? This is awful.
Wow. I've been playing Banner Saga, which like, makes me think of like the Hobbit and everything, where like you have to navigate
course.
based on this map all the time, and it kind of called to attention the way that like whenever I have a Lord of the Rings story or a Banner Saga story or something, I always have trouble accepting like the scale of the map. Like you'll
Yeah.
have a big iconic scenes happening in various parts of the story, and then it'll be like, and then they traveled for 2 months in that direction and stuff like that. And it's always hard to accept like, oh yeah, they just walked for months. in the middle of the story, and we just skip that part, and there's like crazy time dilation going on all the time. But Banner Saga extra fucks it up because instead, like, they did a weird thing that it's constantly distracting to me in both games, which is that in Banner Saga, they write the story like it is Lord of the Rings, where it's a little band of adventurers walking around, like, you know, like 8 people, basically. But
then they also have this gigantic number of people supporting them at the same time.
Yeah, they have like a 1,000-person army half the time.
Yeah.
But they'll have like stories where like, oh yeah, there's a squabble happening between these 2 people on the road, and you come across them, and they're surprised by you. I'm like, how? They're surprised by 1,000 people? Or like there's parts in Banner Saga 2 where someone if you make a loud noise, you can like attract attention in the caves. And it's like, as opposed to hundreds of people walking through. Do you know how loud people
like
are?
There's children, carts, lots of people in armor.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty bad.
Like one guy, but if you as the main character might shout at the wrong time, you can get attention drawn to you, and it's like, what?
Yes.
There's thousands of people in here. Like, what the fuck? Like the game continually seems to have a story that forgets that it has an army in it.
So I just want to mention something that happened to me earlier today in Banner Saga because I was playing and having a lot of fun with it. So the main character for the second game, if you do what I did, gets an ability called Overwatch, which, you know, is shoot anybody that comes within your like radius effectively.
Yeah.
So I've just been giving her nothing but like strength points and stuff to the point where she can Overwatch anybody. But she also has a trinket that makes her Overwatch have a knockback if it does more than 3 damage to an enemy. So I was in an encounter against a bunch of centaurs, and they're not very heavily armored dudes. So I proceeded to have just the main character walk slowly forward, and they would move like a tile forward and get knocked back outside of the map.
Whoops.
And an entire 10-minute fight was just me slowly whittling them down. Yeah, and because I kept killing them and getting more, willpower from it too. So I was literally just farming these like just sad centaurs because they can't do shit. Because I killed all the archers immediately, knowing that they're going to be the only thing that can threaten this specific tactic. So even like their chieftain, who's this like big burly centaur, I just like whittled down so you take like plenty of damage. And so I just had like my weak as shit other characters run in and just, poke them to death the rest of the way for free levels and stuff.
Have you found that in Banner Saga 2?
Excellent cheesing.
Have you found that in Banner Saga 2 they just kind of started adding more and more abilities to the game to the point, but like almost haphazardly to the point where like there's just massive power disbalances between characters?
It's not hard anymore. It used to be hard. It's not hard anymore, and I'm okay with that.
There's a character.
Yeah, because I heard the first game was really hard.
There's a character who can just summon a bear. Yeah. And the bear is just a separate unit that is as good as most units, but also the other guy's still there. And it just knows that Andrew's left his computer and is now tending his chickens while we talk about Banner Saga.
It is... Yeah, I mean, I will admit, though, Banner Saga 2 is like so much
Overwatch.
Fun.
Like, your character has Overwatch, and the other character, not the other character that you could have instead, but the alternate campaign character, because they always split it into 2 different campaigns, basically. Like, that guy has the ability to just attack twice in a row instead of once. The one caveat is that you don't control the second attack, so it could attack armor, or it could attack strength, or it could attack your teammates if they're adjacent to a teammate. But generally, it just means a free second hit. But also, he has an ability where if someone's about to die, you can just he has like a killing blow type move where you just wipe that guy out, and then you just get another turn. And so if he has high,
you mean Bulwark?
Bulwark.
Yeah, I got him up to like.
If he has high enough strength, he can just walk around and one-shot like 12 guys one by one, and it's like no big deal. And it's like, this is like the most weird power balance, whereas you get somebody else in your party who's like their one power basically is that they can, if someone stands near them, then when a kill happens, you'll get a bonus willpower added to the party. And that's what that role of that character basically.
They don't even need to stand next to the person. They can stand like 2 tiles away.
Yeah.
So like I've had that just proc randomly. I'm like, hi.
Though. I've just found that the powers of individual characters are so all over the place that it's a little hard to justify using some of them.
I guess
It was already a problem in the first one.
That's kind of a common problem in a lot of games, though.
Yeah. But the thing is, the game keeps giving you more characters. Like, every chapter, you meet, like, 5 new characters, and they just get added to your pool, and you're like, who the fuck do I level?
I'm never going to use any of these.
And what my biggest disappointment with Banner Saga 2 right now, which I largely think is a better game than the first game in a lot of ways, but an issue I have is that they add a lot more RNG, which bums me out. Because one of the things they did is that the first game was completely set in stone about how basically everything worked. You had this strength and this armor, and it always did the same things, and you had these ranges you could level people up to when you get this many kills and stuff like that. But in the second game, they raised the level cap, but they didn't raise the actual stat caps. So once you max out the stats that they would originally max out in the first game, you then get talents. And all of the talents are like a 10, 20, and 30% chance of doing specific things in specific situations, like blocking a strength damage or doing a critical and stuff like that. So, like, after you max out the basic stats that were from the first game, you basically then put all of your level ups into giving your characters random effects for stuff. But, like, the biggest culprit right now for randomization for me is the fact that they give you an axe thrower. And this guy's ability is that he'll throw an axe for normal strength damage at an enemy, and he'll just keep throwing them until he misses once. And the RNG says that he has like an 80% chance of hitting the first time, and then a 10% lower chance each subsequent throw. But it's so RNG that, like, the last 3 times I've tried to use that skill, it deflected the first hit, and nothing happened. And it was a waste of a turn.
I had him kill a guy. Guy had 20 hit points, killed the guy in just one go. Just like axe. I could not believe.
That's ridiculous.
That particular ability is so completely drowned in RNG that it's like, it makes me unhappy it exists.
Yes.
Because the game was so reliable and not being random before.
Yeah, the first game was definitely more set in stone, but I really do think the second one is more fun. They got rid of a lot of, like, the starvation mechanics too, because your clansmen will now, like, search forests that you're walking through for, like, fruits and berries and stuff.
Yeah, they made clansmen do
people
something.
aren't just... Yeah, which is really nice.
There was a really weird thing in that game, which is that you'd build up an army that had this many clansmen and this many fighters in it, and the fighters would be your army force, so they would affect, like, your army versus their army would affect how hard an individual battle would be whenever you fought an army, because it would be 2 armies fighting each other, but it would contextualize itself as just being a turn-based combat like normal. But the enemy force was determined by how much they were overwhelming your army in numbers. But clansmen, as far as I could tell in the entire first game, were functionally just a thing that you kept around because you felt bad, like, because you didn't want them to die. But, like, it was just like you were just ferrying around people for the sake of being nice, basically. It's like they remember that stat on the top of the screen should probably do something. So in the second game, they forage for food periodically, and so their balance now is that the fighters consume more food per day than clansmen do, while clansmen actually can restore food over time. So there's actually
sounds like
there's actually a symbiosis
aristocrats
there.
in Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah, there's actually like a thing going on now, which is nice. But yeah, that was different. But one of the things that's gotten weird about the game is that it went from being a game where you were kind of constantly you were often starved for renown in the first game, and renown is an all-in-one currency you use to make certain decisions, or to pay for your goods, or buy trinkets that augment your stats, or to level up any character ever in the game. So it was used for everything. But you only really got it by either winning battles, or by making really specific decisions throughout the game that would basically increase your fame. But in Banner Saga 2, you kind of just get renown for everything all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I did a training mission earlier today and just got 40. It's like, here's 40 renown.
So you'll get renown for every kill you get renown for finishing battles, you get renown for, like, stubbing your toe sometimes, and, like, you get renown for, like completing training missions inside your tent. And it's like, I'm just doing a training exercise in my tent. Why did that help me buy food? I don't understand.
It sounds like Banner Saga 2 is a lot gamier than, like, Banner Saga 1.
Yeah.
It's abstracted its mechanics to an extra level, to the point where they don't make sense in any... You can't explain them in the world anymore. It's just... They just are mechanics.
It's just gamey. Yeah.
It is just video game now.
Though,
which is fine, but
it's kind of a shame.
It's a weird change, though.
Yeah. I guess I enjoy it because it's much more... It's fun. Like,
yeah.
the first one I played, and I was on easy, and it was still stressful at times. Like, there were some battles where, like, I was close to death and, like, whatever. Mainly because, you know, I just could not promote my units. Like, I was on chapter 5, and I still had level 1 characters, because they weren't giving me enough renown to both feed my people and level my unit. So it was like, super feast or famine. Now it's just like, alright, here's a fight. Assuming that you, like, don't screw up your tactics, you can totally go to town on people. And, like, there are a couple of enemies that have, like, ruined me. Like, there's one enemy type that will actually divert all damage to one of your characters. So I, like, accidentally murdered my entire party by accident, because I didn't understand it, and had Bolver kill 2 of my guys at once.
To be fair, that's his default. That's just what he likes to do.
That's his
kill
default,
your own teammates.
But I put him between 2 of these corrupted, whatever they're called. And I'm like, alright, he's gonna kill both. And then he swings, and he kills one of my characters, and then he swings again, and kills my other character. And I'm just like, but they're on the other side of the map! Why is this a thing?
I will say
there's
one thing objectively bad.
Ooh.
There's one thing objectively bad about Banner Saga that hopefully gets patched at some point, which is that I was doing training mechanics in Bulwark's campaigns. Like, when for those who don't know, you just go into your tent while you're camping and just be like, hey, let's do a training mission. And they're good to do because they just give you free renown that you use as currency for experience and supplies and everything like that. But mine's broken and unbeatable.
Just picturing, like, a dude, like, practicing in his tent how to swing a sword.
Yeah.
And then somebody else leveling up as a result.
He does, like, a sweet trick, and then you get, like, gold spewing out of midair. He just does a sick he does a sick maneuver, and then just people aren't hungry anymore. I don't know what happened.
The other gaming thing that they did was give you
I didn't actually say the thing I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
But what happened is I was trying to do Bulwark's training campaign, and I literally can't do the training mission. It's impossible. Because what happened...
Which one is it?
Is that, first of all, there's one red flag, is that when you do training missions, which are a very controlled environment, like do these super specific things in a few turn type maneuvers, they for some reason make the mistake of letting you use your actual characters instead of like generic spearmen and generic archers and stuff like that. So you're already playing with characters that could be completely different characters based on how you've built them and stuff like that, and how you've spent time with them. But the big problem that happened is that in the second Bulwark training mission, Bulwark himself is one of your opponents, and he is the character that you built. And the way that so
you can get wildly out of power then.
Yeah, he's my most powerful character, and he's the opponent. And on top of that, there's the issue that the way that the game handles difficulty on different difficulty levels is that it'll balance the enemy army based on a certain like difficulty, like score, basically like D&D. And Bulwark's super high level, so since he's high level, it reduced the number of people in his party from 3 to 2 to balance it, even though it's a training mission. But here's the thing: the training mission is step 1. Use Insult on Bulwark. Insult is a move that makes it so that he gets pushed back.
Oh, this is the one where
turn order. Step 2, use Axe Throw and hit 3 times in a row. Okay, that's RNG, so that's a dick move, but okay, it's fine. Step 3, stop Bulwark from having a turn. Period. Which means you literally have to defeat Bulwark before he has a single turn. His armor and strength are so much higher than everyone else in the party that no one can even hurt him in one turn. But because he's high level, it also deleted one of the other people that are supposed to be in his party, which means that he has fewer people in his party than ours. So even if you insult him to push him back to the end of the turn, if you push him back to the end of the turn, he still comes up like immediately. So you only get 2 actions, one of which is pushing back his action. So that means I have to kill him in 1 axe throw in order to win. But his armor is so high that every time I do the axe throw, it says resist, 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 deflect. So like even when it hits, it doesn't hurt him. I'm like, it's literally an impossible level for me to do.
Which means I can't do any
of the training missions for the rest of Bulwark.
Because
they're linear.
For one of mine, I've got Krumer, who when he split from my party, from Alette's party, he had the thing that gives him like +4 break, so he just walks in and can like break off anybody's armor in like 1 blow. And for that mission, Bulwark was heavily injured because I did 2 battles back to back, so he had like -3 HP. So I just went up and one-shot him with Krumer. And I was like, alright, well, this is easy.
I gotta say, that's one of the dickiest moves that game does when it comes to blindsiding you with stuff, is the fact that, like, in the middle of the story, it'll just rip certain characters out of your party and just send them elsewhere, including the items they're holding, and you'll have no warning it was going to happen, and you just have to deal with that now. But it's still a fun game. It has Oregon, it just has Oregon Trail feelings of like I had no way of being prepared for some of this stuff.
Yeah, I would still recommend it to anybody, but it is definitely not exactly a pure successor to Banner Saga 2. But personally, I actually like it better than the first one. The first one, I think I was a little bit more in tune with the story.
It's way more varied than the first game was.
It's also suffering from. It's suffering from middle child syndrome. You know, the first one's new and special. The middle one, you're like, all right, you know,
it's the Dark Souls 2 of Banner Saga.
Pretty much, yeah. Because like they can't finish a whole lot of plots. They got to kind of keep things going because there's a third game coming out in like a year and a half.
It's funny because people said like The Empire Strikes Back was kind of like that, and now it's become like, the most popular movie of the original trilogy.
That's because Hoth was like a really good thing, and there's I don't know. I still would agree though. Empire Strikes Back is
sometimes the middle chapter, because it doesn't have to wrap anything up or set anything up, gets to have the coolest stuff happen, like Helm's Deep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Two Towers is the best Lord of the Rings too. Like there's oftentimes the middle one's the best one. Because setup's a pain in the ass, and wrapping stuff up is boring, but kind of necessary for a good story. Ultimately,
it depends. But yeah,
because not wrapping it up can be really shit. But when you're in the middle movie and you don't know, you don't have to. You can do crazy shit for a while. Like on the topic too, like probably the best Hunger Games movie is the second one, because it's this weird middle chapter where they're not introducing the world and they don't have to finish everything, but they get to just fuck with you over the course of the movie in various ways if you're invested in that at all at that point.
You know what the best Leprechaun movie is, though? Leprechaun in the Hood. All right, I gotta wrap this one up.
Yeah, that's a fine stopping point. Yeah, we actually talked about a video game, and I slowly sank off camera over the course of the podcast
while looking at chicks.
Yeah,
but different ones.
Instead of butts.
Oops.
Yeah, instead of complaining about how video game women are dressed this whole time, we watched a webcam of chicks.
All right, that was fun. See you guys next week, presumably.
Yeah,
we'll probably talk about Dark Souls 3 at some point.
Good.
Yeah. We refrained from talking about Dark Souls 3 to talk about another game that half of us have no opinion on. But it's fine. It happens.
Bert, you should play it. You would love it. It's very, very fun.